Tarehe 4 mwezi wa 8 mwaka 2021. Hapo umeamka vizuri, umeamka salama. Kama unakimbia pale ofisini, ndio tayari ya kwamba ushafika pale kazini. Ofisini kama ni mtu wa jua kale, unaenda pale kutafuta riziki. Ndio kwamba tayari ushafika pale uwanjani ili uanze kuanza kazi. This is a tackle au Siasa Wednesday, na pole tumechelewa kidogo kuanza, lakini at least tumefika. Nasema heri kuchelewa kuliko kukosa. We are here and we are looking forward to have a conversation with you on the state of the nation and also the state of politics in the country. Tukiangalia pia yale mambo yanaendelea kwenye nchi na mambo ya governance. We want to invite you to the conversation. We have the conversation together. Please, when you join in, when you like, I get to know that you're watching us. And after you like, please share. When you share, you give someone else an opportunity to broadcast. Ukilike, naweza kujua kwamba unatazama. And after like, please share. When you share, you give someone else an opportunity to watch the broadcast. Tuko na Governor P. Muchendu, ambaye nasikia anaomba kiti huko Limuru. Nimesikia fununu. Kama ni kweli nimesikia finally ameamua kwamba kizo sijui tutaendelea kumuita gavana mbunge wa Limuru ama itakwaje. Na tuko na Nathaniel Mong'are, who is a national spokesperson ANC party. Anatuambia ile masaibu ambayo yanaendelea pale NASA pia, na vile ndoa imevunjika kuliendaje, ndoa ya machozi pale. Atatuambia mambo vipi, yuko njiani hajafika, so kwa hivyo akiingia ataweza kuendelea kuzungumza na sisi. Lakini kabla tujaanza, kama kawaida, we have to go before tuombe, alafu kirudi na kuja kuwapa salamu zetu. Naona mama tayari mapema, basi when I come back we have a conversation with you. Haya, kama na P. Muchendu, utatuombea kama kijana bishop. Naona leo umenyonga tai, wanasemanga umevaa kama marehemu. Good morning.
Shall we pray? Father God, we want to bless you this morning. We want to honor you. We want to thank you for the gift of life. We want to thank you for your mercies that have granted us an opportunity to be here this morning. How we pray that as we start, you shall start with us. You shall walk with us until we come to the end of the show. And we shall be careful to give you glory and honor. We bless you and we pray that you may bless every listener and every person watching this show, and that you may give us wisdom to dissect the national issues in the best way possible. In Jesus' name we thank you.
Amen. Amen. Sana Governor P. Muchendu. Sijui leo venye munyongo, sijaiona munyongo kama hizi kwingine.
I am certainly sure mpaka watu wa thetako wanashindwa what is happening. You know when I told my wife that today I'm wearing a suit, and she was like, please tell me what is the occasion, because you do not normally do this. Well, you may know that we were in Kiambaa a few weeks ago. And we led a very seriously heated campaign for the Hustler Nation. And by God's grace, our candidate won. You may have known Kawajiko, John Juguna Kawanjiko. I was the chief agent at that by-election. And subsequently, Kawanjiko became the MP elect for Kiambaa. And this afternoon, John Juguna Kawanjiko will be sworn in as the Kiambaa member of parliament. And being the chief agent, I of course have to accompany him to parliament and make sure that he is fully sworn in and now becomes the official member of parliament for Kiambaa. Now, the predicament of going to parliament is that at that swearing in, you have to sit at the speaker's gallery and you have to be in a suit and a tie.
Even though
now that's the norm in parliament. It will not be my first time to be there. Is the norm. So I have to actually adhere to the rules and regulations of the National Assembly.
In preparation
for Limuru constituency seat. In a very few. You know, people pushed me to actually say what I was vying, and I felt that was not the right time. But I think I have got what it takes to be the next member of parliament for Limuru constituency. And it is my honor, having been a member of the TACU. You have not had it elsewhere. You have had it here for the first time. Peter Muchendu Gideshi, the governor, will be vying for the Limuru constituency seat on our party. It's called Chama cha Kazi. And this is a party that is driven by young people. And it is articulating the issues of the nation, not because we are young, We have come together as a young people because we know what our potential is. We know what we are capable of doing. And we are not vying to appeal just to the youths. We are going for those seats because we want to appeal to the older generation, the generation of our moms and our dads, the generation that is probably a bit younger than us, because we know the capabilities as young people and what we can achieve. If you look at Kiambaa Talk, Kiambaa constituency Hustler Nation campaigns were over 95% led by young people. We had the campaign teams in the 34 polling stations that were led by young people. Every station had a group of mobilizers and led by young people. And the beauty about it is that from sorting out the allowances for all those people who are working for us, that was purely a system that was run by young people. We did not have a centralized way of doing things. We believe as young people in a system, creating a system that is able to deliver results regardless of the person who are put in the different points of that system. And it has been amazing to be in the Moses Kuria School of Politics, because you'll be surprised to be talk. Almost every other shouting young person out there, whether in Tangatanga or in Jubilee, has gone through the hands of Moses Kuria. That would surprise you. Look at my colleague here, who is Solomon Kuria, who we normally come here with. He was one time a student of Moses Kuria. You remember when Moses Kuria was doing Punda Amechoka? You remember that initiative? Moses Kuria was the point man. Solomon Kuria was Moses Kuria's point man in Nyandarua. You look at Redi Amadea, who is now working for government. When he left youth agenda around 2012, it is Moses Kuria who looped him into the TNA politics. And she is what she is today because of Moses Kuria. Karongo Dhangwa, who was vying for senatorial seat in Kiambu. He is the only candidate who was not a Jubilee candidate that Moses Kuria vigorously campaigned for. If you look at the people Moses Kuria was working with, do you know, people do not know this, but the TNA manifesto that you have had was written under the direction of two people. Funny enough, again, it was Moses Kuria and Dr. James Nyoro of Kiambu, the current Kiambu governor. These were the people who are tasked to write. So I would say this, profoundly say that I am proud to be associated with that side of Moses Kuria. Most people do not understand, who is a strategic person and a very brilliant campaign strategist. So therefore, people of Limuru, get ready.
Omubunge anakuja.
Mimi nimekuwa ground, siendi kufanya introduction Limuru Bitok. We have been on the ground doing a lot of charitable works and community works. So I am not a stranger to the people of Limuru. At one time, I helped the current member of parliament ascend to power. That was in 2007. And we feel that in French, uko kwetu tunasema in French, onanyoginegi maraga. That is it. Even that kid who is breastfeeding at some point becomes mature and stops doing that and starts doing what mature people do. So therefore, I have interest for the Limuru constituency. Not that I have negated the seat of the member of county assembly in Deya, but I feel having worked in both county government and now national politics, going for the county seat will probably be limiting my abilities. So therefore,
undergrading yourself.
Exactly. Therefore, I think that going for the member of parliament gives me a wider scope of being able to deliver to the people of Limuru. Yes, sir.
Haya, sawa, na hata sisi tuvalie tai. Kwa nini sisi hatufai kuvaliwa tai? My friend, from today onwards, the standing orders of the tackle demands that you have to come in a suit and a tie.
I'll probably be doing that once in a month. And,
heshimu hata sisi bwana.
We have our partners who are doing very good job in dressing people. Na watu watako watume hapo bwana.
Bas, kuja kupima, lakini sasa ni kama unaweza chukua eka 3 ya
kwa nini my friend? Acha kuniharibia jina. I only do size 56 my friend.
Kumbata ni tunatofautiana tu sizes. Mimi ni
54 na mimi ni 56.
Hauko mbali sana. Haya, Emmanuel Zarem. Na kwa sababu good morning good people, good morning to my brother. Ameamsha wana Moses Nyigane. Kama kila mtu angekuwa akiamsha watu vile Emmanuel Zarem anafanyanga. If every tackler could come in and wake up 5 people like Emmanuel Zarem does every day, I mean, this thing would be amazing. Anyway, asante sana Emmanuel Serem. Anasema ameamsha Honorable Moses Nyigane Kebene, Leonard Serem wa diaspora, Isaac Serem na Cheptap Kibiri Ret mwenyewe wa UDA. Unataka ni Yuda, ingawa sema Huda, nasema lakini UDA. Cheptap Kibiri Ret asema good morning GB, Serem Emmanuel good morning. Good morning to you Cheptap Kibiri Ret. Naona Keja Graphics good morning this evening. Good morning to you my brother. Good to see you and good evening actually to you. Mong'are to continue morning team tackle tuning in from Convent United Kingdom. Good to be part of this morning Siasa Wednesday edition. Asante sana. Jacqueline Jabichi inakuwa na good morning tuned in kama kawa. Asante Chelagad Mary good morning. Asante tackle watching from Westlands. Asante Vincent Ouma watching from Kisumu Dala. Asante kutoka Kisumu. Jemo Ruta good morning from JKIA airport. Asante sana Jemo, salimia watu wa JKIA. Namsalimia hapo OCS Kosgei, ambao umetumwa na salamu na chunga zikupe zawadi ya pingo. Taylor Kiprop, ansajera below today you'll have to bear with us. You are watching the Doyen that Inoro using political, social and economic wisdom. Haya, asante kwa kuja. Christabel Okito, good morning, tuned in from Sierra Leone. Good to see you Okito, Christabel. Past regards to Sierra. Shavin Koech, good morning. Good morning to Elvis QW falling from County 47 to Kotakol na Inoro. Asante sana ndugu yangu Elvis. Kwalis Kipchichi anasema good morning to Tackle tuned in from Eldoret. Leo climate sio romantic. Kuna ndaje shida watu Eldoret badala ya mvua ikinyesha mnafikiria kulima. Nafikiri vitu zingine. Wewe Collins, we'll deal with you perpendicularly. Sam Sirma, good morning. Good morning the incoming Weben MP jambo kutoka Uganda. Asante sana Sam Sirma, it's good to see you. Appreciate Kamau tuned in from Marua. Wambui wa Kidhura anasema General Bitogo to hear Governor P. Muchendu is the next Limuru MP. All the best. Asante. Jana Dono, good morning. That I call tuned in. Abdul Mohaz, good morning from Wajia. Good to see you. Kimtai John, good morning, catching you from Uganda. How come you guys are all in Uganda? Everyone is in Uganda today. Everyone is in Uganda. Talking about Uganda. Kenny Walcott, good morning, tackle from Jogo Towers. Asante sana. Talking about Uganda. So the president was barred from traveling this week, 2 days, a day ago. I don't know. The stories have I mean, there have been several stories that have come. I don't know what you make of it.
One, I'm perplexed by the kind of stories that are being spinned, and they are being spinned by people who only get paid 527 shillings, money that cannot actually attract tax. It's rather unfortunate that the only value most youths have been given by this government is to be social media commentators, because most of them do not qualify to be called bloggers. Because what do they blog? Telling lies and innuendos and fictitious things is not blogging. And I would say on the onslaught that it is very sad, it is disheartening, it is uncalled for, it is uncalled, it is stupid, it is lack of common sense to try and humiliate the deputy president of a nation, because there are people who thought they were humiliating the person of William Ruto, but William Ruto remains the deputy president of the republic. And how we treat him as a nation also talks so much on how other nations sees us. The deputy president was going to be a guest of the president of a neighboring country. What are you telling us when you lock him from going there? What are you telling the nation of Uganda?
The government has said it didn't seek clearance. They should seek clearance.
No, listen, be talk. Whereas the deputy president has traveled so many times, including a month ago he was in Uganda. Did anybody say that he required to be cleared to go there? He was only in Uganda a month ago, and he did not require anybody to clear him to go there. He has not required anybody to clear him since months, he became the DP Bitok. And I want to believe that he was officially invited by the president of Uganda, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni Bitok. Let it not, let those who are doing this not forget that our biggest trading partner, Bitok, is Uganda. The biggest foreign export for this country, Bitok, goes to Uganda. This is a nation that, if without Uganda, we would lose over 50% of our foreign exchange, because most of our products are exported to Uganda. And therefore, it is not just about humiliating the deputy president, Bitok. It is also about setting out Kenya against the neighboring nation. Because today, Bitok, if you are the president of Uganda and you invite the DP of Kenya, and the government of Kenya starts playing monkey business and asking him, I hear he was being asked to produce the birth certificate. He was being asked to produce documentation.
Barua ya chief.
Barua mpaka sijui wanamuitisha barua ya chief. I mean, this is the height of disrespect. This is the height of lack of patriotism from those who are doing this. And I will echo the words of the Kiambu Member of Parliament, Jude Jomo, who said that the deputy president, regardless of which song politically he is singing, he is an officially elected deputy president. Remember, he's not an appointee. He was elected in the same ticket with the current president, Uhuru Kenyatta. And therefore, if they knew, somebody knew before he went to Wilson Airport, somebody knew that he was going to travel. And if it is about clearance, somebody should have called him. Because you see, for someone, deputy president traveling, that manifest has to be given to the airport before he gets there. That manifest contains the route that he's taking and the people he is going with. So somebody knew the DP was intending to travel to Uganda, but chose not to call his office. The intention was to humiliate him at the airport, which is very wrong. And I think for me, I would say that one of the major achievements by Uhuru Kenyatta in second term is humiliating the deputy president. That is what will go to history. That is one of his major achievement. You know. Let me tell you, Bitok. If the Speaker of the National Assembly very well articulated that members of parliament on private visit do not require clearance because they are going on a private business. The DP would only require clearance from whoever, if at all it is there, and I have seen quite a number of lawyers say that none of such authority existed. The DP would only probably require to notify, not actually seek permission, to notify the relevant authority if he is going on an official visit. Unfortunately for them, this was a private visit to go and visit Museveni, not as the deputy president of the republic, but as a personal friend of the Ugandan president. And therefore, these, these machinations with a certain cabal within the ruling rights is what is going to destroy this country. But I am very proud of my fellow hustlers and Kenyans, because this was one of the things that was meant to cause disharmony among us communities. This was supposed to trigger members of the public to run to the street and give this fight-hungry regime a reason to actually release the police menace on the people. And I am a very worried person, Bitok. In the last 1.5 years, for those who follow news closely, this nation is seriously investing on arms. We are heavily investing on the army. We have signed quite a number of very huge contracts meant to bring very serious equipment for the Kenya Army into this country. We have I'm being honest. Has Uhuru not signed a deal that is almost 10 billion last week with a Turkish, I think it's a Turkish company, to actually bring heavy military machines in this country? We have seen increase of purchase in the Kenya police, and one can only ask you ask yourself, what is the intention? Is there a war in Kenya? Are we gearing to have a war with another nation? You can only ask yourself, Bitok, why are we investing over 10 billion shillings to buy military equipment? You saw the president the other day in Roiro going to commission a company that is making arms. We are doing all this investment amid the people lavishing in poverty and being pushed to the corner by coronavirus. We have not seen a deliberate attempt to actually address the issues that have been brought about by COVID-19. Why can't we see the same fund being addressed to the Kenyans whose business is going down? Why can't we see the government deliberately addressing the issues of Kenyans who owe banks money, who are going for crucial every day? These are some of the things we are asking ourselves, Bitok, that we are busy investing on things that do not actually matter to the local Kenyan right now. Because investing 10 billion shillings in an arms deal in a country that has not been in war, because let me tell you, the war that we fight in Somalia, do you think we actually fund it? We don't. Don't fund it as a nation.
Who funds it?
It is something that is funded by a multinational organization to try and stabilize the nation of Somalia. So therefore, this excessive and continuous increase to spend on the security forces is actually on a very alarming rate. That we are busy arming our forces as if we are anticipating something. That one can only think from that angle, Bitok, because otherwise I do not understand why we have not seen serious COVID addressing issues, like create a fund that addresses the micro or what we call medium businesses that have been affected negatively by the coronavirus. Have we seen the government rescue those Kenyans who owe mortgages to banks? Have we seen the government revise the model under which Kenyans are going to repay their loans, under which Kenyans are going to access the money to revamp their business? Instead, we are introducing e-government. We are introducing taxes on loans. Saizi uliona sijui kama ulipata message kutoka kwa your internet service, your phone service provider kwambia juu ya this ameongeza 20%.
Yeah, niliona.
Bank ikakwambia wana tax 20% levy on your loan. But instead of that money being used to caution Kenyans, Bitok, we are busy buying arms. It's a very unfortunate. And therefore, to those people who wanted to shame the deputy president, I would tell you, shame on you. And some people in Harambee House need some growing up to do.
Hi, before you even go to the procedure, before you even go to ask about the procedure of travel, especially for public servants, what then is a connection between the deputy president and Uganda? Because I think that's what they're getting uncomfortable with.
You see, at the end of the day, let me tell you, and they like it or they don't like it, that is a fact. We are not at liberty to actually interfere with the democracy of a nation. And therefore, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni just acquired another term just recently. And no, I'm just saying, whichever the case, he is the president of Uganda. And I want to believe that the international organization believes the process in Uganda was above board. Otherwise, have you had any sanctions on Uganda? Have you had any? You have not had any sanction from the international organization. And therefore, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni is a man who has been in power for long. I do not advocate for him to be in power today. In fact, I'm one person who feels that he ought to have retired. I think even before Uhuru became the president. But the unfortunate thing is that he is the president of Uganda. And the democratic process, regardless of how people see it, I have not seen Kenya or any other international organization critique how Museveni became the president. And therefore, as a president of a nation that is benefiting big time from Kenya, and a nation that is giving Kenya the biggest export market, he is bound to look ahead and see how the formation of the next government will adversely, either negatively or positively, affect the nation of Uganda. And therefore, I think it is within his right to invite the
So according to
deputy
Museveni, the DP is the incoming president.
and Museveni has never bet on the wrong horse from the time Moi left power. And therefore, all we are doing here today, and all the people who are frustrating the DP are doing, all of us are trying to actually guess what exactly was it that the DP was going to go to do to Uganda. All of us are speculating. Neither of us, the only people who know exactly what they were going to do to Uganda is the DP and his entourage. And I think for me is that you may hate Kaguta for so many things, but I think he keeps friends. Because when I looked at the people who traveled with the DP, recently, you would remember like a year ago or a year and a half ago, the same people traveled to Uganda with the DP, including Didi Nyoro. And I think for me is that when Uhuru was making a visit to see Magufuli, you remember Uhuru has even visited Magufuli in his rural home. When he was doing that, nobody was critiquing Uhuru Kenyatta, despite the fact that Magufuli was pressing the wrong buttons with the media. He was being to become a new dictator uprising. Nobody actually critiques the relationship between Uhuru Kenyatta and John Pombe Magufuli, who is now gone to heaven or wherever he went to.
Jerusalem.
Inata anaweza kuwa alienda inaitwaje? Kule Yesu alikuwa amefufua mtu Capernaum, yes. So who knows? But the point here is is that there existed a relationship between Uhuru Kenyatta and a dictator called John Pombe Magufuli. In fact, what was this type of birds they were exchanging? The peacocks.
The peacocks.
I think the peacocks. Yes, Tausi. They were exchanging birds. I mean, the relationship had blossomed into a relationship of that was actually carried more than a boy-girl relationship. But the point is, I mean, he was given even a Tausi by that dictator from Tanzania, but nobody seems to critique that. But people have a problem with Kaguta Museveni associating with the DP William Ruto. It is a case of people wanting to have their cake and eat it at the same time. These things don't work that way, Bitok. So I think for me, as a nation, we humiliated ourselves. And I think it is very important. It is very important as a nation to go back to the drawing board. We do not want these things to happen, Bitok. And we know, and I want to believe that when the 5th, the DP, next year in August moves from Karen to Dennis Pritt, he will accord those people who are opposing him the human dignity they require. We do not look forward to get to power so that we can revenge. We are looking forward for him to become the next president after August 9th election, so that he can show them how we are supposed to treat humanity. Yes.
Okay, so what is the procedure? Travel procedure for public servants, especially the cadre.
You see, I will tell you, for the PSs and the CSs, they have to be cleared by the head of civil service to travel. The deputy president is part of the presidency of the Republic of Kenya. And he would only be required to notify. And actually, I don't think he would require notification to travel if he's going on an official duty, because all official duties have to come through the office of the president.
Official duties.
Official duties. They have to come through. So he does not actually need to notify them when he's doing official visits. They actually who actually needs to let him know. He is required to do one too. Because as I told you, the deputy president operates on what is called delegated authority. As in, he can only do what is delegated to him by the president. And therefore, for any official visit, it has to come from the president coming down to him. But for private functions, he would probably be required to notify the head of civil service, so just that he is not allocated official duties when he is out. But he does not require to seek authority from anyone to do a private visit anywhere. He doesn't need to do that. And that is a fallacy that is being peddled around by busybodies who receive their token from Harambee House, which is rather unfortunate.
Okay, so there's no procedure.
There is no procedure. It is just idiocy of the highest order being propagated by some individuals. I hear they met somewhere in Kirinyaga County over the weekend and plotted this shenanigan.
Okay, so it was said that the president was in a company of someone who has been profiled. Is that true?
Let me tell you, one of the reasons why this country is going to lag behind, it is when we stereotype business people who come into this country. We talk. You remember sometimes back, the rich man from Nigeria came and met the president, called Dangote. And we have introduced funny politics into business world of this country. We introduced the 30% local ownership of international investors, and this is where some of these Jubilee busybodies get their money. Some of the officials at the Jubilee Party have made their money through forcing nations to and institutions and companies to give them 30% of ownership. Yet they have no idea what the company is all about. They do not buy into the vision of the company. All they do is that company is required to have a 30% ownership. In most cases, when those companies come into the country, they will probably have to give you that 30% on a free grounds, because you don't have money. You imagine a company is coming to invest 100 billion. And if you are investing 100 billion, 30% of that 100 billion is that a billion.
So it belongs to me.
Does Bitok have that billion? He doesn't. So what they do, they have to transfer the 30% share ownership to Bitok on zero cost, so that they comply with the regulations we put in this country. These are some of the things that are deterring investors from coming into the country. Number two, we politicize investment and business. It doesn't matter, you came through Raila Odinga, or you came through Uhuru Kenyatta, or you came through William Ruto, or through Kalonzo Musyoka, or whoever, or the other big leader that is known. As long as you come to put your investment in this country, and the investment authority and the relevant bodies have vetted you and allowed you in this country, because that man is not new to this country. He did not come here and be here illegally. For your information, the said person they are saying was cleared way before all the members of parliament and the DP to fly to Uganda. So therefore, the shenanigan being peddled around by the busy bodies and the social media commentators allied to the Kieleweke, it is untrue. It is uncalled for. It is actually putting this country now international investment at jeopardy. Who in his right mind after that guy has been put on the headline? If you go to today's People's Daily, which is known to be a sympathizer with government, which is probably known to be owned by people within government, they have put that story as the headline and put the face of that young Turkish investor there. Which or who in his right mind would now come to invest in Kenya at the risk of being called a terrorist? There's nobody that is going to come. And it is rather unfortunate that these are the kind of politics that we have allowed them to infiltrate the business world of this country. And it is going to force this country it is going to force international investors to ditch this country. So therefore, I look forward, and I am hoping, and we will be seeking the support from some of the members of parliament to put a private members bill on our behalf in parliament that is going to abolish the 30% requirement for a company to operate in Kenya Bitok, that is going to bring all the necessary requirement to open and to register a business in this country in one place. And when somebody lands at JKIA or at Kisumu or at Eldoret or at Mombasa or our international airport, you will find an opportunity, and within hours you can register a company and start operating in Kenya. It is the reason the nation of Rwanda is way ahead of us in terms of investment today, because if you ride in Kigali today, within a few hours you will walk out into Kigali City with a registered company business and a registered company. These are the kind of things we want to happen in this country. Let us abolish the 30% ownership, which is destroying this country, which has opened a door for corruption, which has opened a door for gatekeepers. They do gatekeeping so that they can get this contract. If you come and the investment authority signals that you are investing more than 1 billion shillings in this country, you have to run at the offices of the who is who in this government. And upeane kakitu, upeane 30%. This is what is destroying this country. And we must say no to it.
Okay. All right. So there's been also another thing. The MPs, Ndindi Nyoro,
yes,
who have blocked Oscar Sudi, and I didn't know this guy. I just saw him the other day, Tayari. And I was wondering, if we cannot know all our MPs now, all MPs were BBI 6 wakifika. Tulikuwa tunajua mheshimiwa ni nani. Anyway, so Ndindi Nyoro is on record in 2017 for saying that democracy is what? Democracy is dangerous. We need dictatorship, and he was encouraging the president to hammer hard on NASA people and to continue and punish them for what they were doing at that time. And I mean, when the shoe squeezes, the shoe bites, the story changes. He's the one now who is singing the songs of democracy.
Bitok, just to be truthful to Ndindi Nyoro, he was very specific. He said that this nation required a benevolent dictator. Yes, and it was not actually in terms of even how we do leadership. It's how in terms of how we do business. Bitok.
No. He said they should suspend. The president should suspend the constitution.
Let me tell you, Bitok. I'll go back to the nation of Rwanda, where all of us know that Kagame was the head of the army at one point in Rwanda, and now he has been able to change he was able to change the constitution and extend his mandate. But have you seen the people of Rwanda complain? Have you ever heard there is a mass protest in Rwanda? But it's outright dictatorship. I'm asking you. Have you seen civil society in Rwanda?
Not about because they are squeezed. The other civil society guy died.
Have you seen one? The reason why is that as much as I may not agree with the system that Rwanda uses, the president has brought serious economic revolution in that country, that one puts money on the people's pocket, that addresses the need of business people. I've told you today, one of the best places with ease of doing business in Africa, Bitok, it is Rwanda today. That is it is the only company you land in the airport, and by the time you are leaving the airport to go to Kigali, you can go with a registered company and start operating. I will tell you, serious people in this country, including former general of the armed forces, is a very serious investor in Rwanda. These are people who are doing that because the government has introduced a system that is revolutionizing the way they do business in Rwanda. It is a system that has seen Kigali become one of the green cities in Africa that is environmental friendly. It is a country that has been able to deal with what we call the effects of coronavirus positively. They have been able to come up with a system that has been able to deliver food to the last person in the entire of the nation of Rwanda. Now, well, there's one thing I'll tell you, Bitok. When you're a member of parliament, you cannot keep complaining the way Muchendu complains, who is not a member of parliament. To that extent, to that extent, Bitok, ni watu wangu walimuru bana. Wameanza kuuliza, mesikia nimesema nataka kiti, so they want to talk to me. Bitok, I'm saying, to that extent we agree with you. The members of parliament who said, to be specific, did Nyoro, who said that we needed a benevolence dictator, the question would be Bitok. They may have gotten what they asked for, but that dictatorial tendency by the Uhuru Kenyatta government and the intolerance that they are currently creating, is it helping this nation move forward? That would be the biggest question. Okay. In comparison with what is happening in Rwanda, is what Uhuru is doing today taking this nation forward? Or is it putting this nation at a quagmire? Is it putting this nation at a standstill?
You have not answered my question, Muchendu.
Yes.
Ndini Nyoro was very specific. Suspend the constitution, club by the NASA guys in his dictatorship.
Yes.
Now the same is being applied on him, and he has a problem.
Yes, but did you see the president deal with the NASA guy?
I mean,
why are they prosecuting Miguna? Okay, why are they prosecuting Miguna?
He was kicked out,
and he was only facilitating the swearing in. The person who was participating in the swearing in is now a partaker of lunch at the table. Okay. And I keep telling you, Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga, they are good sons of their fathers. And they know the canon rule that we were taught as young boys and young girls when we were growing up, that when you are eating, you do not speak when your when your mouth is full. And therefore, Kenyans must accept, because I'll tell you, majority Kenyans voted for Uhuru Kenyatta. A majority of Kenyan voted for Raila Odinga. So therefore, wapiga kura tutulie, tuvumilie, tuliowapigia kura kwa meza, they are eating and they are exercising the hygiene etiquette that all of us were taught, that you do not speak when your mouth is full. Okay. So Wakenya waendelee kuvumilia until August 9th, 2022. You can either come and make another mistake or put this nation on its course to prosperity.
Haya. Kwanza wewe hakuna kitu unapata. Kama hivi ndio unachelewa kazi kama hii, bunge sijui utafika saa ngapi. Nathaniel.
Yes, my brother.
We are going to be banned on the tackle. We're going to ban you.
No, I'm so sorry. Kwanza pole sana to you and to the viewers. What the tackle. Hii show yetu nzuri sana. I normally watch every single morning when I'm in the house. Now, first of all, nimechelewa. Unajua Nairobi venye maisha inakuwa.
Hata sisi tuko na, kwani sisi
a lot of traffic jam, but I want
hata sisi tumetoka Nairobi ama tunaishi. You know, when you apologizing, you don't make it conditional.
Yes, I want
you don't also give excuse and say I'm apologizing, but
yes, I want to pass my apologies. But I know I'll catch up with Muchendu and this show. But I normally watch this show and I'm enjoying the progress that you are making.
Asante.
Yeah.
And
most of my people also watch this show. I have a lot of friends ambao tulisoma na wao. Kericho High School, Moi University. Every time I post, sema I will be at the tackle. I keep seeing a lot of
wanasema hapa ni nyumbani.
Hapa ni nyumbani. And you are giving them fresh content, political content. ANC tuko salama.
Labda uanze na wewe kwanza, you can introduce yourself.
Yes.
Nani nimesikia siku hizi umepata cheo inaitwa spokesperson.
Sasa hizi mimi ndio msemaji wa chama kitaifa katika chama cha ANC.
Sio msemaji tu wa vijana.
Si msemaji wa vijana. Hiyo kitu niliwaachia wengine. Kuna vijana wengi kwa chama ambao wamekuja. These young ones ambao wametoka university. Wamesema pia lazima watu waundie nafasi. Na mimi I believe in mentorship of giving other people an opportunity and a platform to grow in politics. So nikasema I've been trained enough in politics. since I joined ANC party in 2016 nikasema acha nipatie watu wengine nafasi. Vijana sasa wamechukua hiyo nafasi ya Youth League. And since we don't have a secretary general, I've been the acting secretary general. Ukiona huko nje natoa misimamo ya chama, I'm giving those formal positions because sababu Mheshimiwa Musalia Mudavadi has believed that a young man like me can be the spokesperson of the party.
And also the standing secretary general.
And the standing secretary general. Imebaki tu muda kidogo, they will just give that confirmation.
Nangoja tu kukula Biblia.
Hiyo tu ni kule Biblia na tuanze kufanya kazi. But cha muhimu we talk, we are going to there are a lot of things that we need to do in this country.
Okay.
Nikisikiza ndugu yangu Muchendu akizungumza matatizo ya Kenya. Dawa ni chama cha ANC. Ukiangalia ile mpango kabambe ambayo tuko nayo. Na mimi najua watu wengi wanaweza tofautiana na maoni kama haya. Lakini sisi tuko na mpango fulani. Na mpango huu unaitwa Uchumi Bora Manifesto. Hivi karibuni tunaenda kuzindua Uchumi Bora Manifesto.
Uchumi bora.
Pesa mfukoni. Hiyo ndio mambo tunaenda kuangazia. Ni jinsi ipi ambayo tunaweza kusaidia watu wadogo. Si wale watu wadogo wa bottoms up. Ni wale watu unajua siku hizi kuna watu wamechanganyikiwa sana. Kuna bottom up na kuna bottoms up. Na tumesikia mambo mengi kuhusu economic bond. But kitu ambacho mimi nafurahia ule mjadala wa kusaidia mtu ambaye hajiwezi. Ule kijana kule mashinani. And we talk. Kuna watu wengi sana ambao tumesoma na wao Kenya. Most of my friends they don't have jobs. Ukiangalia takwimu kutoka Kenya National Bureau of Statistics. Watu wengi ambao wako na uwezo ya kufanya kazi hawana nafasi ya kazi. Ama hawezi wakabuni nafasi za kazi. Kwa hivyo tunahitaji serikali ambayo itaweza kuweka mpango kabambe ya kukuza uchumi. So katika chama chetu tuko na huo mpango, tuko na hiyo nia. Muchendu ameweza kuzungumza maneno ya NASA. Sisi ndio tulikuwa tumeanzisha NASA. Kama unakumbuka wale watu wameishi Kenya. Wanajua NASA ilianza na chama cha ANC. Na NASA ilikuwa ni National Super Alliance ya kupeleka Mheshimiwa Uhuru Kenyatta na wengine nyumbani. Ile serikali ya Jubilee. Lakini unakumbuka mambo ambayo imefanyika kule Mto Jordan. Kuna wale watu ambao walituadaa pale Mto Jordan wakakimbia wakasema Muchendu amesema wengine wanakula kama you don't talk when you're eating. Ni kwa sababu ya ile usaliti ambayo ilifanyika pale Mto Jordan.
Ni table manners.
Table manners. You don't speak while you're eating. Umeona watu kama kina Miguna they became casualties of that betrayal. Kwa hivyo hii mambo ambayo tunazungumza Kenya, kuna mambo lazima tulainishe katika taifa la Kenya. Na mojawapo ni electoral injustice. Tunafaa kujua kwamba ni kina nani, umesikia kina Ndini Joro wanalalamika na wao ndio walikuwa washabiki wakubwa wa kusema maneno ya sisi tunyorosha vizuri. Wakati tulikuwa na machozi Monday, Ndini Joro yeye alikuwa anafurahia sana anasema hiyo tear gas zinunuliwe kwa wingi. Ndipo watu wananasa tuweze watu shughulikie sawa sawa. Lakini tunataka kusema kwamba kuna vitu ambavyo tunafaa kunyorosha Kenya. Mojawapo ni kuheshimu kura ya mwananchi. Lazima turudi katika electoral justice kwamba the vote counts and the vote matters. Hapo ndio tutakuwa tumeweka Kenya vizuri kwa sababu tukichagua uongozi ambaye iko na sera ya kuweza kusaidia mtu ambaye hajiwezi, tutaweza kusaidia taifa la Kenya. Ukiangalia bitok kwa sasa watu wanaumia. Umeona serikali imeweza kuongeza taxation. Taxation saizi imefika juu, ile tax kwanza kwa maneno ya kama gas. Saizi gas cooker ambayo ilikuwa ina cost shilingi 900 imeenda mpaka shilingi 1200. Ule mtu mdogo pale mashinani ana uwezo ya hata watu wengi mashinani hawatumii hata maneno ya gas cooker. Watu wengi wanatumia firewood. Kama mimi constituency yangu North Mugirango 57% of the households they use firewood kupika. Wanatumia kuni, masogoro, kuni, hizi vitu ndio wanatumia pale nyumbani. Hata mama wangu ambao walikuwa light skin wameanza kukua dark skin kwa sababu wametumia kuni sana. Na mimi nataka nikuje ni kuamue kutoka kwa maneno.
Walikuwa light skin.
Walikuwa light skin.
Kumbe walikuanga weupe. Lakini maisha mwapiga.
Hii maneno ya kutumia kuni. Unapata sasa mama ushago pale amekuwa tena dark skin. So mimi nataka nikuje na suluhisho ya kutafuta njia ya kuwasaidia.
Alisema leta mkizini Nairobi ndio utajua rangi yake vizuri.
Huyo unajua hiyo detox jika kama ni matusi kwa watu wangu, lakini
ndio umetangaza ndio umeona mconfirm nikasema ile kitu nilisikia.
Wale watu kuna shida hii Kenya detox. Kama chama tunatayarisha maneno, tunatayarisha candidates ambao wanaenda kusimama katika tikiti yetu. Sasa hizi tuko na candidate ambaye ako confirmed ni Mheshimiwa Musalia Mudavadi. Yeye atakuwa the presidential candidate. Anapeperusha bendera ya chama. Pili, tumeweka ile call for applicants. Wale watu ambao wako na nia ya kusimama na chama cha ANC kutoka kiti ya MCA, MP, governor, senator, women rep, walete maombi katika chama. Hata kama hauna pesa, kama wewe ni kijana na uko na nia ya kusimama, leta maombi yako katika chama. Tutaweza kuprocess. Kwanza mimi hapo ndio niko sana. Kama kuna vijana ambao wako na nia ya kusimama viti, hata kama hauna pesa ya kufanya campaign, wewe leta maombi yako katika chama. Tutashughulikia hayo maombi kwa sababu we are preparing candidates. Juzi tumeweza ku-launch training manual for women aspirants, akina mama ambao wako na nia ya kusimama viti. Tunataka kuwafundisha maneno kama ya kuunda campaign message. How do you form a campaign team? Unaenda aje pale mashinani kuweza kuzungumza na wapiga kura? How do you maintain contacts with your voters? So we want to train women and empower them in politics kupitia chama cha ANC. Naam.
Haya, asante sana ndugu yangu. Now you are aware that the deputy president was blocked from traveling a day ago to Uganda. I don't know what you make of that.
Kwanza kabisa mimi nataka kukashifu kitendo kama hiyo kwa sababu naibu wa rais ni mtu ambaye ako na nafasi kikatiba katika taifa la Kenya. The deputy president was not appointed. The deputy president is an elected official. He's a second in command in this country. You cannot use the law selectively. If there is a law that is supposed to be used to approve the travels of the deputy president and other high-ranking government officials, then let it be used. Let that law be used. But let that law not be used to ashame the deputy president. You know, Bitok, when you've heard Muchendu talking about people like Ndini Nyoro, when it was convenient for them to say that let the NASA people be clobbered, more tear gas be put to be used against our people, he cheered them on. And as public leaders, we must be very careful with the pronouncements we make. And today, I want to make a pronouncement that it is not correct to continue shaming a sitting deputy president. You never know. We have seen from history people like the former president, the late Nathaniel Moi. He was humiliated at the height of the regime, the Kenyatta regime, when on its sunset political days. But you know what happened? The same people who humiliated President Moi are the same people who ran away when he became president. And we cannot say things when they are convenient to us. I want to say it is very wrong to block the deputy president from his travels, especially when they are private travels. We should be able to give everybody a chance to enjoy their fundamental rights. If it is a freedom of movement and association, let them move wherever they want to be. We have seen the president is moving across the world. Probably he's doing the goodbye rounds, telling the world leaders, kwaheri, because you know there are
190.
But it is true, the president is.
But I know the president akohoka.
No, we are in a transition. We are on a transition. How many? Today is 3rd. Is it 3rd or 4th? Today is
the 4th of August.
4th of August. We are doing our elections next year, 7th of August. We have exactly 12 months and 3 days for the president to be in power. And the president has to visit all this.
So the president is not a member of One Kenya Alliance.
The president is not a member of One Kenya Alliance. The president is not an initiator of One Kenya Alliance. The president is going home in exactly 12 months and about 3 days. So the president, because the president is going home, let people be very careful, because the deputy president is running is a competitor. He's our competitor. In fact, he's our political enemy. And in democracy, this is what they say, Bitok, that even if you don't like your enemy, you must protect his or her rights. Because one day you will be at a different position. Or when you're applying a law or making a law, make that law knowing that your worst enemy could occupy that position to apply that law on you. So we must be very fair as a country. I don't like what I'm seeing, the humiliation the deputy president is going through. One day, you never know.
It could be the president.
It could be the president. Or one day, Musalia Mudavadi could also be the president, or it could be any position in
Mudavadi is a gentleman. Kama atafinya. Wala watu watafinya watu ni kina wewe sasa. Wenye mtakuwa mmemzunguka.
My foot soldiers.
They say
the cabal.
A fruit doesn't fall far away from the tree. I am Musalia's son, so I don't think I am far from his character. What I know, if push comes to shove, I know if they push the deputy president too much, I know there are these machinations. wanting to edge out and elbow out the deputy president. If push comes to shove, I want to beseech the deputy president to just say Musalia Mudavadi tosha, and we will take care of his interest in government. Because now if they push him too much, you see all these travel restrictions. He can't go outside the country to make to visit his friends and other people. Then he should find a safe pair, somebody who is able to, who can rise above who can rise above the temperature, somebody who can rise above all these people and be able to protect his interest. And I know, Musalia Mudavadi was born in Baringo. Many people don't know this. Musalia Mudavadi is by extension a very good friend to many Kalenjins. Musalia Mudavadi, when he became finance minister in 1993, we talk. One of the first appointments he did, he appointed Mika Cheserem, a Kalenjin, as the governor of Central Bank. In fact, Mika Cheserem was on his way to, was it Malawi, where he was working. Musalia Mudavadi recalled him on his way to Malawi. Akamwambia, you come, we have seen your competencies, you can become the governor of Central Bank. Among the very first reforms Musalia Mudavadi did in when he was Minister of Finance. So I know Musalia Mudavadi is a friend to many Kalenjin people because I interact with him on a daily basis. I know this for sure. And I'm confident because his father was a teacher in Baringo. His father is the one who raised President Moi. Remember, there's a time Musalia Mudavadi's father, Mzee Moses Mudavadi, when he was the education officer in Baringo, President Moi, the late, was a teacher. In that time, when we studied Legico, the Legislative Council, to represent Africans, it is the colonialist wanted Musalia's father to become the representative of Rift Valley in Legico. Musalia's father, Moses Mudavadi, declined that invitation. And he had spotted President Moi. And he told Moi, there is an opportunity here. You can go and represent the people of Rift Valley in Legico. But Moi said, what if I go and I lose my job? Musalia's father assured him and told him, you take up this opportunity. If you lose in the race, you'll come back and you find your job safe. Because he was the boss of Baringo district. And that is what happened. And as history has it, you know now what happened. Moi became a member of Legico, courtesy of Musalia's father's help. And the friendship has transcended time. And because of the respect of the Kalenjin people have on the late president, for the work he did for this country and for the Kalenjin people, I think it is only fair that if the interest of William Ruto will not be safe going forward, then William Ruto should just say Musalia Mudavadi tosha, and we move this country forward.
Before we go, we get back to Muchendu. Now, how do we end this cycle? Because people are saying you did this to us. Now, you should be happy when you're doing it to you. How do we end this cycle where we feel like, because power is on my desk today, I use it to oppress you. And then again tomorrow, when the food changes, on the table turns. Because the one amazing thing about tables is that they turn. They keep turning. When it turns tomorrow, now it's on the other side, and then we are ndio kazi yangu line ya ni wakati wangu wa kukufinya. And then again, when you talk about, every time we talk about Miguna, etio au majamaa alikuwa anaenjoy Miguna akifukuzwa. Mtu mwenye Miguna alikulisha Biblia ako area. Na hajasema Miguna arudishwe. Na kuna nguvu ya kusema rudisheni Miguna. So how do we end this cycle where we all Kenyans, as Kenyans, will feel safe? It doesn't matter whether Muchendu is president, I don't agree with him, I'll feel safe. At what point do we end this cycle?
Ndio umesema kufinya, nikakumbuka mtu anaenda kufinya.
Na kufinya.
I think that's what they're doing in government. The only way to end this cycle is to elect a sober leadership that believes in the constitution. We need a president who believes in constitutionalism, not just a president who is paying lip service to the constitution. Because the constitution must apply equally, universally to everyone. You cannot start selecting which chapters of the constitution you want to apply and which one you don't want to apply. So we must elect a president who believes in constitutionalism. We have seen, and I have to say this publicly, we have seen the push and pull. The current president, His Excellency Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, is having with the judiciary. I don't think there is any president in this country who has had a serious loggerhead with the judiciary like President Uhuru Kenyatta. We have seen him, the judiciary itself has given decrees against the person of the president. You remember recently on the BBI case, what did the judges say? The judges said that the president himself is indicted in the person of the president, not the holder of that office, was indicted for not respecting the constitution.
Okay.
So we have seen it by example. The judiciary itself has declared that the president has not been obeying the law. We have seen most of the government appointments, including the creation of the offices of the CASs, they have been declared unconstitutional. And those matters are being litigated currently in court, and many, many more other examples that we can give. We've seen the president not appointing 42 judges, was it 41 or 42 judges of the Court of Appeal?
Yeah.
And the judiciary has been giving those decrees. The reason why I'm giving these examples, it is an example that illustrates that President Uhuru Kenyatta's commitment to respecting and paying fidelity to the Constitution is wanting. And we've seen this with the loggerheads he has been with the judiciary. And we must say this, that we must have a leadership that respects the spirit and the letter of the Constitution. If you don't respect the Constitution, because the Constitution is the one that governs all of us, and the Constitution is a creation of the people. The Constitution, the powers that are given to the executive, legislature, the judiciary, are all emanating from the people. So I must say that the only way to end this cycle is to make sure that the people elect a president and leaders who respect the Constitution. Once we fix this, we will not have any other problem. But there was also a time the deputy president also was cheering on some of these things that were happening. But be that as the case, it is not proper to use the law to try and say the deputy president of the Republic of Kenya should be able to consult the head of civil service to get approvals. Does that make a lot of sense? Because if you ask yourself the question, in the ranking, in the pecking order, even if you look at the national order of precedence, the deputy president is above the head of civil service. In fact, the deputy president can initiate the removal of the head of civil service from that position. So it cannot be in order for it to be said that the head of the deputy president, number 2, who is elected, because the current constitution provides that the deputy president is an elected public official, to seek approval from
an employee,
the head of the civil service. It doesn't make sense. And I'm not saying this because William Ruto is the one who is occupying the position of deputy president today. I'm saying this because
could be
I know in the future it could be anybody else who occupies that office. And you wouldn't want precedent, history to be used, that once upon a time, Honorable William Ruto was also subjected to the same treatment. So we must apply this law equally. And the only way to end this cycle of impunity, as I've said, is to have a president who believes
in the Constitution.
All
right. Not only believes, but also walks the path of Constitution. Anyway, so how do we fix this, Muchendu? How do we reverse this?
I think I've listened to my brother tell us how Omwami should be the next president of the Republic. But I was repeat what I have always said here regarding the One Alliance. Is it One Kenya Alliance? OKA. That should be OKA. One of the common denominator amongst those people who are propagating that alliance, BITOK, is that they have tasted power.
Na ushafika kwa alliance, namuuliza how do we reverse punishment? Where leo niko na nguvu na kufinya, kesho ikuwa na nguvu na kufinya.
I am coming to that, but I have to give my reaction. I have to give reaction to what my brother has said. These boys at the OKA, that is One Kenya Alliance, all of them have tasted power. And as one of their leaders has articulated very well, Kalonzo Musyoka, that their primary objective and responsibility is to defeat William Ruto. So anything else regarding Kenyans comes second to that. And that can only be defined as people who are very hungry to get back to power. Because all of them have been part and parcel of government. And it is their their goal to get back to seats of power. And therefore they are coming together, as he has ever put. It is number one, driven by the need to come back to power. Number two, it is by the need to protect the rich history between them. You have heard my brother. I don't need to add the words. He has articulated the history between the Mois and the Mudavadis. So there is need to protect that, what we call dynasty history. So those are some of the driving forces that my brother, I mean, I was enjoying here when he was articulating the relationship between the Mudavadis and the Mois. And you can't help but know that forces of nature would force them to come together just to protect their rich history and taste power again. And therefore, Bitok, I would say everybody has a reason why he is seeking a leadership position in this country. I want to wish them well, but let it be remembered that other than Kanu, the other parties that are coming together, it is just NASA. Purely they are from NASA, which they could not sustain until the next election. And they prematurely withdrew from that particular coalition. And that says so much about their leadership etiquettes. Can we trust them to fight the fight to fool the rotor when it comes to running of government, or will they disintegrate at the middle, wataruka katikati? So
Watashuka kwa jamu. Wanashukisha kwa jamu.
Anashuka kwa jamu watukue nduthi. Unajua saa hizi wameshuka nini ile inaitwa forward ya kwenda Kayole. Wamechukua nduthi sasa inaitwa One Kenya Alliance, trying to use panya routes to get to the destination quickly. Now, having said that, and I will say this, the point here is, if we are going to change this country, and that's what I am loving about ANC, talk, it is that we are now discussing issues.
Yes.
We are not going to discuss personalities. We have brought up the bottom-up model as the hustlers. They are calling it what?
Uchumi bora.
Uchumi bora.
Sasa uchumi bora pesa mfukoni.
Uchumi bora. I have also seen Raila Odinga attempting to be the second copycat of what the DP is doing. But the point and the most important thing here is that we are no longer discussing about individuals. We are now discussing about issues that affect the common mwananchi. And I think that is where the discussion should go. And the person who does the best presentation and convinces Kenya gets the opportunity to lead this country. But I would tell him to forget the machinations of the DP ever supporting Omwami. I mean, you cannot support lame ducks in a race. If you want to push someone, you push someone who has shown that he has what it takes. He has the capacity to go to full throttle. Mudavadi for the longest time has been a non-starter. Mudavadi for the long time has never had teeth to bite. Do you know before Uhuru Kenyatta became the nominee for the Jubilee Coalition? The truth, and that is the fact, because I was seated at the Multimedia University when the current president denounced the fact that he had already stepped away from Mudavadi in 2013. I was seated in that Multimedia University hall. When
the Madimoni story.
Yes, okay. You know the story. So therefore, Mudavadi just allowed that to go under the seat and go away. He was again pushed to be second fiddle in the subsequent election by Raila Odinga. And I have not seen him come out as a strong candidate who can stand up to the nature of Kenyan politics. I'm sorry to say so. Looking at that lineup of One Kenya Alliance, the only person I would say probably stands a better chance is Mudavadi, but he has to get that grips of the teeth to bite. Because in terms of articulating the issues of economy, I give it for Mudavadi. In terms of articulating the national issues, he will do better than any other person in that particular organization. And therefore, I see...
Particular organization or the country?
No, the particular organization. I'm not talking about the country. I'm talking about the nation. The country, he can only, even even William Ruto, we can only talk about him being the leader of the hustler nations until next year when the Kenyan people give someone an official mandate to lead this country. The first thing you have to do, Sisi, and I tell you, Bitok, by now, anybody who does not know his presidential candidate is a very confused lot in this country. The one Kenyans, they cannot even bring themselves to fight a presidential candidate, leave alone the running mate. The Kieleweke union with ODM, they cannot bring themselves to actually declare who is their presidential candidate. We can see people like Joho pretending to run for presidency. Things that can never happen. You have seen, I'm told Wikri for Paranya has given in for Raila Odinga. As a hustler nation, Bitok, for the last 2 years, we have known who is our presidential candidate in 2022. And therefore, that is out of the way. That is why we are busy now creating an economic model that is going to drive this country. If you see people at August 2021 and they do not have their presidential candidate, they are jokers. They are only interested in power because by now, if they have not decided who they will support for the presidential candidate, they are still doing press conferences, they are doing workshops, they are doing training, they are doing shortlisting. I don't know which other method they will use. Probably now they might be heading for intercessory prayers to know who their presidential candidate is. But if you see somebody at 2021, August, 1 year, a few days to the election, and they do not know their presidential candidate, outrightly, they are jokers. And number two, their priority is not the Kenyan people. Their priority is taking leadership and enjoying the parts that comes with that leadership. Going forward to what you have said about dealing with this issue, I will say this, Bitok, and those who follow me on social media will bear me witness. You remember the time this government pushed for the amendment of, was it the security bill that was brought in parliament? And I was on the media and I castigated that bill. By then, the proponent of that bill were both the leader of National Assembly and the Senate, that is Kipchumba Murkomen, and Aden Duale. And I said, let us not pass these laws. Tomorrow they might come to haunt us. Today, who are the biggest crying? Who are crying the biggest?
Motivational speakers.
The motivational speakers
Nathaniel,
on
Mong'are
those issues. They are the people who propagated the same law. And I will agree with my brother. When we are passing a law in parliament, or when we are making a comment in parliament, let us make that comment from an impartial position. Because tomorrow you might be the one at the read position today. You will be at the receiving end tomorrow. And the same laws you have passed, Bitok, are going to come and haunt you again. Today, Kipchumba Murkomen of today, Aden Duales of today, Kimani Ichung'wah of today, they probably are suffering most on some of the laws that we have passed. They did not at one time think that they will be at the receiving end of the same. And I urge members of parliament, when you are passing laws, when you are passing acts of parliament, kindly pass them with 20 years or 5 years in mind, that tomorrow, when I am not sitting on this seat of the member of parliament and I am on the other side of the law, will this law work for me or will it work against me? Always ask yourself that, because as much as I supported the government, today the people who got the rude shock of what they passed almost immediately are the very people who propagated for the same law. They are the very people who propagated for these security rules to be passed. Today, we saw bloggers, pro-government bloggers shouting that let us pass laws that will govern social media and gag people from saying things. Who are the biggest people who are suffering today? They are very, very people who propagated those laws. And I keep on saying, if a law cannot help me when I'm not in power, then it is not good. But if you pass a law when you are in power, and tomorrow it is now that axe or that panga is facing to chop you out, please accept it gracefully without complaints. No, it's the truth. It's the truth. It's the truth. As much as we have people who are supporting the deputy president, who are members of parliament or who are leaders in government, if you know you participated in making of a law that today is affecting you negatively, please accept the touch aggressively and accept that you made a law that was not good. Because if it is not good to you when you're not in power, it is not good to every other Kenyan who has never been in power. So therefore, let us work on laws that cut across. Let us work on statutes of our constitution and our laws that actually balance the Kenyans, whether you are in leadership or you're not in leadership. That law is seen to be fair to everybody. So that is my answer to you, that ukipitisha sheria huko bana, ujue you will not be in government forever.
Okay.
You will leave government at some point. And when you leave government, the same role you have made
will squeeze you.
If you are making them to squeeze somebody,
but at least Murkomen is on record having apologized and said, guys, I admit I was part of a bad regime and I think that should not have. And he said he'll never do that again.
That apology should come with an amendment in parliament. Of the
law
they passed. No, I'm saying, listen, my brother will agree with me. If you passed a law that you have come to Kenyans and apologize for it, as a member of parliament whose registrating is one of your responsibility, you should make that correction because even if you apologize and that law is still effective, bado itafinya mtu mwingine kesho bitoko.
Okay. Yes. So the only apology, anasemanga, but at least they say the best apologies are changed behavior. So at least he has changed behavior. Maybe he needs to go ahead. He should go ahead and reverse the laws.
Even if you change behavior and the statutes of law you passed are still active and can be used against other Kenyan, then your change of behavior does not help Kenyans.
Does not count.
It should come with taking full responsibility of that law you passed.
First of all,
very quick, I love to kwa uchumi ndio tufungue simu.
I don't think Murkomen has changed his behavior. If he has changed, he will have, because he's still a member of parliament. He has a platform to sponsor amendments. He should have immediately proposed an amendment to the very bad laws that he proposed. And those laws, history will remember him. He was the most passionate person telling us kumira wembe ni ule jitokelezeni. You remember those slogans. But at least I want to agree, and I'm happy Muchendu is agreeing that among all the One Kenya Alliance people, the most progressive person who can save this country is Musalia Mudavadi. Our model, our economic model, the uchumi bora pesa mfukoni kwa wote, it encompasses both the hustlers, the middle class, and the rich. That's why we are calling it One Kenya Alliance. So as we will not only focus on the Wanjiku, the hustlers, we are going to focus on having an economy that works for everyone. He has said that we don't have a presidential candidate. I want to ask him, why is he poking his holes on a business that does not belong to him? It is not his business to tell us what time, when, and how to announce our presidential candidate. At the right time, we will announce our presidential candidate.
When they keep poking our media avenues with a lot of shenanigans, we have to...
And poking up the economic model.
What Muchendu doesn't know, that he lives in Kenya and is a brilliant man. He should know that IBC has given a timetable, and the IBC timetable says that the presidential candidates will be announced next year, April, around April. So what is his business in wanting to know our candidate? Or does he have plans of eliminating our candidate? So he wants to know
he's very humorous.
Our candidate in advance. So
I don't have government machineries.
I want to tell Muchendu that we will announce the One Kenya Alliance candidate at the right time.
When you're ready.
When you are ready.
Like I'll marry when I'm ready.
I'll marry
when I want.
When I want.
Ngugi Wadiongo says, I will marry when I want. That is the very same. So I want to tell Muchendu and every other supporter who has the same opinion as Muchendu that as One Kenya Alliance, we will announce our candidate at the right time. But what I can tell you is that the candidate of One Kenya Alliance is going to be a candidate who believes in the economy. The
I thought you almost saying will shock many. Like
it will show. And let me tell you,
what is there to be shocked
let me tell you
when
something.
you know the prayers?
There is something Muchendu has said, and I think he is contradicting himself. One is that he says, on one hand, he's saying that the deputy president should be given an opportunity to lead this country. There is no problem. There is no crime in expressing ambition. On the other hand, he's castigating the One Kenya Alliance leaders that they've been in government for too long. But the same question I want to ask Muchendu. The very same person is advancing to be president of this country has also been in government since 1997. The deputy president of this republic has been in government since 1997. When he became member of parliament for Eldoret North, he became an assistant minister, even though it was temporary. He then, in 2002, I think he was still in government for some time, for until 2005. When we had the constitutional referendum,
he was
for only about 2 years. For only about 2 years is when William Ruto was not in government. Then he came back as a minister for agriculture, even though he says he should have been the deputy prime minister. Then he came back in 2013 as a deputy president. Now he has been deputy president for the last 9 years. So if you cumulatively add the number of years that the deputy president that Muchendu is advancing, he has been quite almost similar to Raila Odinga, because Raila Odinga came into power in 1992. William Ruto started politics in 1992. It is similar. It is a contradiction. Muchendu is contradicting himself when he's putting out these statements. So there is no crime in being in government. In fact, I will proudly say Musalia Mudavadi has been in politics since 1989. And the advantage of being in politics for long, it gives you accumulated experience to do the job. If you give today somebody like Musalia Mudavadi an opportunity to run this country, he will not be learning on the job. He will do the job. He knows the job. He will do. And what people are forgetting, that Musalia Mudavadi was the last vice president of this country for when President Moi was the president. Musalia Mudavadi is the 7th vice president of Kenya. After there, we had Kijana Wamalwa, Mudi Awori, Kalonzo. So if you look at the portfolios that Musalia Mudavadi has held in this country, they're so high that it has given him an opportunity to have experience on how to run this country. So
who is the leader of Oka? Who is the candidate
right now? All the members of One Kenya Alliance
are equal. They're all leaders.
They're called partners. It's called primers inter pairs. In law we talk, we call it primers inter pairs. It's called everybody.
They're all equal.
Everybody is equal there. But of course, with something.
Kizungu mingi tu ya kusema hatuna kiongozi.
Beautiful English to say we don't have.
Primers inter pairs.
In fact, I'll remember the primers in the affairs more than what the people you're referring to.
In law, if you ask lawyers, primers inter pairs means first among equals. Everybody is equal in One Kenya Alliance. But we definitely, from even he has also even mentioned, there must be first among the equals.
But then you should be selling them as a wholesale then. Why are you selling one Mudavadi?
No, but
you should be doing
I'm
a package.
I'm selling the ideals of One Kenya Alliance, that we want to unite the country and advance the idea of inclusivity. Because we have seen even economic exclusivity in this country. Economic marginalization of the young people.
All right.
In this country. That's what we have seen in this government for the last several years. That they promised 1.2 million jobs, but they have not delivered that. Right. They promised a double-digit economy, they have not delivered that. They promised stadiums and all those things, they haven't delivered those things. So what we want to see is economic inclusion and political inclusion of everyone in this country. Right. There's something Muchendu mentioned about that One Kenya Alliance is there to protect the rich dynastic history of the friends in One Kenya Alliance. That nothing could be further from the truth. You know very well, there's nothing wrong with being associated. The very same way we are protecting the right of William Ruto to associate with other people, including friends outside Kenya, the freedom of association, is the very same way we want to protect the right of every other politician, including politicians in One Kenya Alliance, to associate with anybody. If he doesn't know, maybe I will give him information. President Moi is a respected leader in this country. All of us, we respect President Moi. Those of us who grew up in Nyayo era, when we started drinking maziwa ya Nyayo, we know what it means. When we went to school that time, in abject poverty, when there's nothing at home, and Moi brought the program of the milk program.
Yeah.
We all know what President Moi did for this country, and even particularly from the Kalenjin nation where he comes from. So Muchendu must respect the late President Moi. He must respect, because from his assertions, he is saying that being associated to President Moi is a crime, and it is not wrong. So I want to say, Muchendu, please respect.
Wakati ni mbaya. Bunge naona watu wa bunge wamefungwa. Sasa kwa dakika moja. How does to draw a contrast?
Number one.
Wewe utafunga najua unataka kuendeleza hiyo story.
Bana, I don't have to respect the President Moi because he does. And then again, he has no equipment to measure how much I respect anyone in this country. He's just purporting or insinuating innuendos here that I do not respect the former president. Well, I as an individual, as a Kenyan, he has my respect. But as a president and the head of state, I do not appreciate so many things he did. The bads he did outweighs the good things he did. And that's why I'm telling him, they cannot, these people, the One Kenya Alliance, they cannot be seen to talk ill of Moi. In any case, it is Moi who murdered Mudavadi. It is Moi who made Mudavadi a minister. It is Gideon Moi who has the finance muscles to rescue that particular organization they have.
That is not true.
No, it's true. It's true. Let's not kid each other. Kenyans out there know it. He knows it. That the only person there with some finance marshals and power to actually twist them is the son of Moi, Gideon Moi. So my brother here and his ANC people have no option but to actually be seen to talk the best side of Moi. Otherwise, come next year, they may not have what it takes to marshal a serious campaign. So I understand him when he is saying that we must respect President Moi. I'm sure that he probably first voted in, if I can, maybe 2007 or even 2012. At least my first vote I did in 2002. And I know what 2002 was when we were sending Moi home. So it is at most disrespect to myself who voted to send Moi, to send the Kano regime home in 2002, for my brother here to come and demand that I must respect President Moi. He is demanding respect from me as who? For what? Under which circumstances? I cannot do that. I cannot do that. I cannot do that. One of my uncles from my mom's side, who was a very senior CID officer, was murdered by Moi's government. So when you're coming to tell me here to respect President Moi, my uncle was sent to go and eliminate Jehoga Tabaki, the former member of parliament for Githongori. He failed to do that mission. Subsequently, he was eliminated by that particular government, amongst other people who I know personally, who are victims of that government. So therefore, when you are coming here to demand that we respect the former president, please, some of us are very good students of history.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. In a minute. Let's draw a contrast of the economic models that both of you guys are selling.
Yes.
Mnasema uchumi bora, pesa mfukoni. Au anasema pia bottom up, pesa mfukoni. I'll start with you, Mong'are. Very briefly.
Yes.
What is this economic model that you guys are selling, and how is it going to work?
The uchumi bora pesa mfukoni model is a model that believes that an economy that can work for everyone. An economy doesn't have to work for only hustlers or the middle class or the rich. An economic model that works for everyone. That's the distinction number one from the bottoms up. Bottoms up believes
Bottom up, not bottoms up.
Okay, sorry. I think they need to explain to us. Is it bottom up or bottoms up? They need to tell us the difference.
He'll get there when he's explaining it.
I think the economic model they are espousing believes that it can only work for the common person.
Okay.
For us, the uchumi bora pesa mfukoni, we believe that the economic model that can work for not only the poor masses of the people, but it can also work for the middle class and the rich and everyone. An all-inclusive economic model. Number two, the uchumi bora economic model believes that we must revive the dying industries. bitok. We have industries that are dying. We have the Mumias sugar that is dying. We have the Sony. We have the Chemilil. We have the Malakisi cotton ginnery. We have the tea sector. We have the milk sector. And we have the tourism sector at the coast that is dying because of COVID. So it is a Uchumi Bora model that believes that we can revive the dying sectors of this country. That is the Uchumi Bora model.
Okay.
Number 3, the Uchumi Bora model believes that we can include the young people through innovation, creativity, talent, and art. This is the Uchumi Bora that believes that we not only want to create jobs, we want to create an enabling environment for people to create jobs for themselves and others. And how do we want to do that? The Uchumi Bora model will tap into the energy, the innovation, the creativity, and the talent of young people. There is enormous opportunity within the creative industry. It is an Uchumi Bora model that believes, away from the bottoms up, that believes
Bottom up,
the bottom up. Sorry, it's the Uchumi Bora model that believes that we can make billionaires from musicians. What is Nigeria doing that Davido is the richest musician in Africa, and what are we not doing? What is Tanzania doing with the diamonds and all the musicians in Tanzania? Doing that we are not doing. It is the Uchumi Bora model that believes in the creativity, the creative industry. That is where the potential lies. If we sort out managing talent and making sure that we invest into the creative space, the talent, the IT space, then we can have a progressive country. That is how you deliver millions of jobs. You know, government, it is not the business of government or the what we will call the bottom-up government, the hustler government, to create jobs. It is you giving the people the means to create jobs for themselves, because government can't create jobs for everyone. That is a fact. Even the hustler nation they're talking about, they cannot manage to create jobs for 16 million Kenyans who need a job. So it is only the Uchumi Bora model that can be able to create the means for the people to create jobs for themselves.
All right. So what is the contrast? What's the difference?
The contrast is them, they believe only hustlers should
benefit.
live in
You
this
believe
country.
everyone.
Us, we believe everyone should believe in this country. Them, they believe that we continue the same model, the status quo, that industries should be able to die and government should distribute money to the people to do business. Us, we believe that we must revive the economy through industries. Them, they believe that they can create jobs for the young people. As we believe that we must invest in the creativity and the energy of the young people, the talent. That is that if we must nurture talent. Them, they believe that they can be able to create stadiums and many other things. Stadiums and all these things they've been promising. But as we believe that we must be able to go to mashinani and develop talent from mashinani. So the difference is as clear as day and night. They believe they can give them jobs, as we can in Uchumi Bora. We believe that we can give the people the means to create jobs for themselves.
Haya, uchumi yako.
Yes.
And you
First
clarify
of all,
between bottoms
first of
up
all,
and bottom.
Bitok, my brother here has to be respectable when he is addressing our economic model. Probably he is used to bottoms. That's why he keeps referring to bottoms. Our economic model is known as bottom-up approach. And I'm sure the viewers who are listening to him explain their model have ended up being more confused than they were before he explained how they do it. I'll give you two classic examples. Bottom-up economic model is not something new in this country. It's only that it has not been a government policy. I'll give you an example of microfinances and NGOs. Both NGOs and microfinance practice and use a model that is a bottom-up model to lift people from the abject poverty they are and elevate them to where they are. When I was growing up at Ndeya, there used to be a number of NGOs that have played a very critical role in bringing out the poverty in Deya. There used to be an NGO that was called World Vision. There used to be an NGO that was called Plan International. And there was another NGO that was called Compassion International. These 3 NGOs were participating in 3 pillars of uplifting society, Bitok. One of them was provide education to people who otherwise could not get money to actually go to school. Number 2, they were actually doing what is called empowering families economically. That is one. For instance, Plan International would train you on how to rear cows, provide those cows for you, and provide a market for you, and provide some of the necessities that required. They would put up tanks and help people to start farming. That is how farming became a very popular activity in Deya that was otherwise a semi-arid place. From there, the other 3rd pillar, they provided a link between the villagers and the international world. They have ferried a lot of young people from Deya to overseas to study or go through exchange program. And that is how some of the best minds in my village went out there. Now, that policy is purely exercised by NGOs which have international funding they bring in this country. It has not been a government policy to start with the common person. Government believes that we just need to create an neighboring environment for people to do business. A neighboring environment for Bitok, myself, and my brother here, who probably can have an access to loan facilities in the bank. We do banks. But let me ask you, Bitok, if today you create a very good neighboring environment and you create avenues for people to do business, is it going to help that young person in the village who still cannot access that financing, who still cannot access money to do business? Is it going to help? You have created an avenue, but that person does not have the prerequisite capacity to do business. That's why I gave you the second option as the microfinance. Microfinance and SACCOs, Bitok, provide you an opportunity to get financing which you could otherwise not get. Today, I belong to a SACCO called Deya SACCO. I belong to another SACCO in Limuru. So I will take a loan at a SACCO in Deya that is on 1% interest on reducing balance. If I was to go to the bank, I'll probably will not get that loan because it is at 13 or 14%. So therefore, the model that is being used by microfinance to lift people from the abject poverty, I've seen people in Deya with nothing and they have not sold anything, but they have been introduced in the simplest form of saving, being able to move from mud houses to be able to construct structures that was they're living in. So therefore, all we are saying is that we need to now use the approach used by NGOs, the approach used by microfinances, Bitok, and we make them government policies. And I have seen my brother trying to misquote us. He does not know what we believe. He should only speak on what they believe in. We do not believe that we want to actually bring down companies. No, that is not the case. Today, the China that you know, Bitok, it is what it is because of what is called cottage industries. And that cottage industry, it is the government of China introduced a saving culture that has not been seen any other place in the world. And they use the money saved by the people of China to help the smallest people down there to start cottage industries. These toothpicks you get, these toys you get, you will find that if you go to Guangzhou, China, in the villages, they are being made by families. They come together together and they build cottage industry through the financing of government. Has that stopped China from funding the big construction industries like China Ui? So that's not the case. Another case is, as he's trying to say, as much as we deal with the readers in business, because Bitok, you cannot come and lie to people that we want to close down businesses. We are not saying that. But we are saying, and Deputy President has been very categorical, tukiongea mambo ya wados kwa meza, hata mambo ya hasara iwekelewe wapi? Kwa meza. So we are not by any chance saying that we are going to suppress the already performing leading national companies in this country or mid-level companies in this country. But we are saying we want to bring that person who is at the bottom to a level that he can be able to compete. Some of the things that we are proposing that we introduce Bitok, it is the saving culture in this country. Because if we want to, we are going to get money to be able to fund the smallest enterprises that are coming down there. We need to introduce a saving culture in this country so that we do not then end up going to borrow the money to do the bottom-up economy. How do we propose to do this, Bitok? I have told you and I'll tell you. Today, the Musalia Mudavadi, his party leader, is still being paid by this nation. He is still a beneficiary of income that this nation makes. Having been the vice president, he qualifies and he receives stipends from this government, from the people who work for him, to drivers who drive him. As the vice president, unless he wants to denounce it, he is a beneficiary. So, assuming Musalia Mudavadi, the entire pack is about 1 million shillings. Being the vice president, if you look at the allowances he is supposed to receive, the entertainment, the travel allowances, same case with Musalia Mudavadi, same case with Kalonzo Musyoka, same case with Raila Odinga, having served as the vice president of this country. That person, Muchendu, who probably is paid 50,000 shillings, Bitok, pays NHIF 1,200. The president of the republic, who is paid 2 million, also pays 1,200. Do you think we are serious people that someone, a civil servant who is paid 12,320 shillings, is paying 1,200 shillings to NHIF, and a president who is paid 2 million is still paying the same amount? So we propose, and this is where he does not get. Most middle class and rich people in this country, do not use NHIF as their primary insurance. They are either working for companies that insures them well. They are working for parastatals that give them other insurance covers other than the NHIF. So therefore, if the person who is paid 12,340 shillings is paying 1,200 shillings to NHIF, let us convert that 1,200 into the percentage of his salary. And we say, as this country, from today, if the risk person payment to NHIF is 6% of his salary, let's say everybody who is paid a salary in this country, he will be paying his 6% to the NHIF. We would increase the NHIF fund by a whopping 64 billion.
Bitok, the people of this country don't need an NGO approach.
Let me finish.
Let him finish. Then you can give you.
I've listened to him talk about ANC for 12 good minutes. Let me. So I've said Bitok. If we do that without going to parliament, we just change the regulations of NHIF and gazette them, and say that if the least paid person is paying 6% of his salary to NHIF, let other Kenyan who receives a salary pay 6% of his salary to NHIF. We would increase the NHIF fund by a whopping 64 billion shillings. That means that this nonsense of saying that NHIF will not cover for coronavirus will go away, because we will be able to actually actualize these what it is called this health coverage by the president, universal health coverage. We would actually actualize it to the letter. That is one. Now, what would that do if the 64 billion is pumped into NHIF Bitok? This middle class and the rich will continue enjoying their private insurance. That money will go down to help the less fortunate. Today, I am in so many groups, people fundraising to pay corona bills at KU and other hospitals. So this money would come and help the smaller person that he does not need to worry about his health. He can actually put his money that because health is one of the most consuming things for the smaller person. You can, however, now put that particular investment into something else. Number two, the president who is paid 2 million and Muchendu who is paid 50,000, do you know both of them pay 400 shillings to NSSF?
Yeah.
So again, convert the risk paid person payment to NSSF into percentage, then make it a universal percentage for all of us. We would again increase the NSSF savings by over 100 billion shillings, and we would not need to go to France to get a consortium to build the Mau Summit Kamandora Road.
You'll be having the money.
We would having the money. We will take the money from NSSF, pay it with interest back to Kenyans, who will in turn reinvest that money back to the nation.
Oh, so instead of going to look for money outside.
So what I am telling him is, we are not going to introduce a model that has not been there. We are only using models by other non-governmental organizations, and now actualize it and make it a government policy to do that.
Allow me to make a few
All
comments.
right, I'll give you.
Quickly,
And the most amazing thing is, all these proposals you guys are giving, you're not talking about changing the constitution. So all these things can be done actually without overhauling the constitution.
We can do most of these
Anyway,
things.
your comments.
On the
very quickly.
constitution, we can do very minimum reforms because it is only 20% of the constitution that is wrong, which can be done later, even through parliament.
So amhitaji kubadilisha katiba kupea vijana membatari ama mazuri inaitwa nini, weka ushuru, kujenga uchumi.
You only need political goodwill. You don't need a change of the constitution.
So tuweke kando mambo ya katiba
achieve
kwanza.
this thing.
Hallelujah.
The constitution requires minimum reforms. That is the point we're making.
Very quickly, tufungue bunge, watu wa bunge wanalia.
Muchendu is saying that we should take the NGO approach of helping Kenyans. Kenyans don't need the NGO approach. Bitok. NGOs are here. If you know about NGOs, NGOs are humanitarians. Their work is to come and say, these people are poor, let's help them. Let's give them fish. Kenyans don't need the NGO approach. They need somebody who can hold their hand and show them how to fish. Wakenya wanataka ndoano, si wanataka samaki. If you give Wakenya ndoano, wataenda kutafuta hiyo samaki peke yao. Number two, he is talking about NHIF. Increasing the fund in NHIF. I'm not opposing to the contributions Kenyans are making to NHIF. Clearly, there is a disparity between the contributions made by the rich people and the poor people. The amount is the same, the percentage is the same. But that is in the law. The same way the likes of Murkomen, he was talking about, proposed the security laws. Why couldn't Kina Murkomen and the rights propose an amendment to the NHIF Act to increase the contribution to be progressive or in proportion to the salary you earn? What he is not telling you is that the NHIF alone cannot solve the medical issues in this country. They can't solve the healthcare issues. We don't need just NHIF, increasing NHIF contributions. We need a universal healthcare coverage. We need universal healthcare program for everyone. Once you have a UHC, Bitok, you don't need NHIF. Once you make investments in expanding the healthcare infrastructure in this country, you don't need NHIF. Once you sort out the issue of corruption in the health sector, you don't need NHIF. You just need a clear universal healthcare program. A UHC program is a program that can be able to ensure that we expand healthcare, we pay our health workers competitively, we don't import the Cubans to come and be part of the healthcare, and you pay them more than the Kenyan medical workers. We make sure that we remunerate the nurses, who are the laboratories, all these kind of people in the healthcare. We remunerate them competitively. You don't need NHIF. You need a universal healthcare program to sort out the mess. You need to focus on the primary healthcare. And an Uchumi Bora model is the one that will focus on the community health volunteers. The people who are focused on primary healthcare, the hygiene, the community health program, it is the only Uchumi Bora model that can focus on the community health volunteers in the villages. And finally, he talked about us this model for Uchumi Bora, that we don't know what we are doing. It is only the Uchumi Bora model that can sort out the issue of public debt. And I've been saying this severally. So the person whom he is advancing, the deputy president, with all due respect, I know the limits of the deputy president in a government. But the deputy president has also been a powerful person in this country. We all know this. The deputy president is an aggressive person. He is not a bystander. He has not been a bystander in government. He's somebody who was a very conspicuous personality. He has held a serious portfolio. In fact, in 2013, URP had 50% share of the government. We all know this because we have seen the coalition agreement that was signed between TN and URP. So the deputy president had 50% influence through his party in government. This is the government that borrowed. Right now, our public debt is standing at 9 trillion. So he's advancing the economic ideas. He's advancing. Is the ideas that will make this country to overborrow. I am sure if this hustler, the ideas he's advancing, will increase borrowing in this country. But Uchumi Bora, we are saying serikali iwache kutembea dunia mzima na bakuli ya kuomba. We don't want serikali ambayo ina bakuli ya kuomba dunia mzima pesa ya kuja kuimplement government programs. So Uchumi Bora is saying reduce taxation, reduce public borrowing, increase investments in the economy, you create more jobs. Let us have more taxpayers. Actually, the Uchumi Bora model is we have about 4 to 5 million taxpayers. Let's increase the number of taxpayers. Once we have more people paying taxes, because more people have jobs and they're able to pay taxes, you don't need to borrow. You don't need to go to France, na bakuli ya kuomba, or London, or anywhere. You just need somebody, you need to make more investment for people. So the Uchumi Bora model is talking about will increase public borrowing na bakuli ya kuomba. You will see William Ruto as a president. Anaenda huko London, World Bank, kuomba. Lakini the Uchumi Bora model will create more taxpayers who will pay taxes to this country.
It must not be lost to my brother that it is Mudavadi who introduced the International Monetary Fund into this country. Let me finish.
Kabla nirudia nitangaze bunge. Bunge iko wazi. Bunge la mwenyeji iko wazi.
It is party leader that introduced the International Monetary Fund.
Muchendu, ngoja nifanye matangazo. 779-800-010. Bunge la mwenyeji iko wazi. Mtu wa suti leo analeta shida sana. Bunge la mwenyeji iko wazi. 779
come here to talk about this country not borrowing when it is his party leader who introduced the International Monetary Fund.
Bunge kwanza. Bunge la mwenyeji jambo.
Morning.
Good morning to you, sir. How are you?
More than fine, Balozi Eric Arafmeja.
Balozi ya Bariage.
Niko salama, leo napiga kutoka Taribo Market.
Umesongeko kidogo?
Leo nimesonga kidogo.
Habari ya watu wa Taribo?
Kumenyamaza tu.
Tafuteko Rosia hapo wa Taribo. Mkunywe chai.
Hata dakika 5 nitakuwa na yeye. Mati hapo ndio napitia. Najua Madam Rosemary is my sister.
Really? Kumbe familia yote iko kwa Takol.
Familia mzima.
Asante, niambie dadi.
Mimi niko salama na wapenda kuwasikiza. Leo sitachangia chochote politically ama nini, lakini nitapongeza tu kipindi. Because kwa most time tunasoma mengi from you people. Na tunafurahia wakati mwingine mnatuletea at least watu pia ambao tuna learn from them mawili matatu.
Muhimu dadi.
Yes, wewe endelea kuchapa job. Kazi ni nzuri kabisa. I think tunasema igwe.
Haya, safi, hata ya chapa asol pale. Tujenge taifa wote. Haya, asante tujenge.
Asante.
Balozi Eric Meja, familia kumbe familia yote kwenye Takol na Rozi wa Taribo. Haya, Rozi Salimani, bunge la mwenyeji iko wazi, nambari ni 779-800-010 au 779-800-010. Naweza piga simu weza kuchangia kwenye mazungumzo ambayo tuko na siku ya leo na mbunge wa Limuru constituency na mbunge pia wa South Mogirango. Not Mogirango na national spokesperson wa NC party Sir Nathaniel Mong'are ametuambia hapa kuna uchumi unaitwa uchumi bora, pesa mfukoni. Lakini hii mambo yote sijashindwa, pesa itafikaje kwa mfuko yao?
I will explain.
Pesa itafikaje? Haya, ulikuwa na maneno ulikuwa unasema Muchendu.
Yeah, I'm saying please let Kenyans know. When Musalia Mudavadi is purporting to bring solutions to this country, he is one of the reason why IMF was in this country.
Haya, jamaa kwa hapo, wacha tumsikiza. Jambo, bunge la mwenyeji.
Jambo, good morning Gerald.
Habari yake, good morning to you sir.
Good morning Haron hapa.
Haron, mambo?
Poa sana bwana.
Leta habari.
Salamia Muchendu na Nathaniel.
Tumesalimika.
So naona hii ungano ya inaitwa Okoa Kenya ama inaitwa aje?
One Kenya.
One Kenya Alliance. Oka.
Kuna kitu
Ujeni tujiunge.
Kwa nini watu wote hawezi ungana waunge watengeneze chama moja?
Sasa ndio wametengeneza, sasa inaitwa Oka. Ama hiyo si chama, sijui. Atatuambia.
Oka tuliona sponsor aliomo.
Ama uliza Nathaniel ako hapa. Nathaniel jibu swali.
Kwa sababu
watu mwezi elewana, that's simple, ndio?
No, tutaelewana.
No, you see, niliona video na metoroka huko tena na ndio alikuwa chief financier.
That is not true. Hiyo si ukweli. Hiyo si ukweli.
Anyway, you see, these guys wako serious. Unajua wangekuwa wametengeneza one formidable party. Ingekuwa ngumu sana kuwashinda, lakini sasa wakisabaratika hivi watakuwa wanaonea vote kwa view sasa.
Lakini sasa Jubilee tulishikana, mkashikana, mkasema tuko pamoja, mkaweka mikono mbili, lakini sasa nasikia umetoa mkono mmoja, umeweka ile mkono imebaki machungwa imeshika.
Najua Jubilee wanawapara.
Tofauti ni gani?
Najua Jubilee what happened Gerald. Najua ni party lazima ikuwe na structures na lazima kuwe na mkutano. Najua Jubilee ilifika mahali they don't meet. They only meet to expel people. Now when ukikuwa tu kazi yako ni kufukuza watu, tu nyumba itabaki bure.
Kwa kweli.
Yeah, so hii watu I have never understood why people watu kama Raila au Wetangula hii mwingine wote so kukutana au form chama moja. Then they'll be very strong.
Acha nijibu hiyo swali
kama watashinda.
Acha maliza atoe mawazo alafu then we'll you can take the notes please. All right. Aroni. Yes.
Nasema hizi party ndogo ndogo inafanyanga hata nchi inakuwa na shida kwa sababu unajua tumekuwa na two parties Kenya. Hata hivi government check and balance itakuwa rahisi, lakini now you see these people hii nyingine ni conmanship tu. Sasa parties karibu 100 bana.
Okay.
So mimi naona wangekuwa na one party
ndio angeleta shida.
Ndio waweze kutoa sasa la bwana.
Haya, sawa. Asante sana Aroni.
Bure watu watawanyorosha asubuhi.
Okay.
So jamaa wakae chini. Kwa hiyo ndio kama Raila ataingia kwa hiyo Oka. Sioni. Uone. Kwa Raila mwenyewe ako na numbers na ako na wafuasi wengi. Raila ako na MPs wangapi? Wengi sana.
Okay.
Who need one more? Nani ndiye anahitaji Raila? Si Raila anahitaji.
Ala.
Yes, Raila ako na ODM.
Wewe unataka kusema hao wanaume wote wameungana hawezi shinda Raila bwana wewe.
Haya.
Wewe acha nikuulize. Swali rahisi tu.
Uliza haraka. Masaa mbaya tunaelekea saa 4.
Yes. Inasema hao wote washasimama presidential. Na unaangalia walipata nafasi ngapi na Raila alipata ngapi? Kuna Mudava alisimama na akapata ngapi? Raila akapata ngapi?
Sasa unasema Omwami hawezi make?
Omwami hata kwa kana gavana hata moja my friend.
Haya, Aroni.
Nawaambia wapate wakuwe na akili wa form one party.
Asante sana. Hata hello, bunge la mwenyeji.
Yes, Mr. Bitoka, how are you?
Salama sana boss, niambie.
Maxwell hapo.
Niambie Maxwell. Maxwell.
Now,
majina ingine?
Maxwell Sawe.
Okay, mambo niambie dadi.
Sawa, let's discuss political parties. One, if you remove the head of every political party in Kenya, there's nothing that remains. Even as the ANC guy speaks, he doesn't speak as him, he speaks as Musalia Mudavadi. I look forward to a point in time in this country when we are building formidable political parties which stand for something.
Yeah.
That it doesn't matter who is the leader at that point in time.
Yeah.
At the moment, if Raila decides not to run or decides to quit ODM, that's the end of ODM. If he starts something else, any other person who supports Raila will just join because we don't run our politics with any ideology at all. It is about the person who is the party leader at that point in time. And that is why we are psychophans of party leader. Number two, when Mr. Mong'are spoke about Murkomen in parliament and all that, let me tell you, the only thing that members of parliament can do is to serve the big man. The ideas that you pass in parliament is the big man's idea. You can't go against it. And the moment they go against some of those, they were kicked out. So we need to look for a way, even as young as they are, these guys in the studio, they need to figure out the best option. Like Mong'are thinks about bottoms up. He knows what he's saying. And I don't think, as smart as he's dressed and amefanyiwa makeup vizuri, amenyoa vizuri, but what he's talking about, like bottoms up, and he knows it is the wrong thing to say, but he has to say to please Musalia Mudavadi, who was saying bottoms up is the bottom of a bottle. I think there are things that we know within our range. We know this is right. This is true. This is how it is said. So let's just stick to those facts. Let us not behave like them. Because tomorrow, when you leave ANC to this guy, they'll behave the same. So let's focus on the specific issues that are brought with this model. There's one thing that BP mentioned when he was being interviewed in Nauru. People fight models, but in terms of economic models. But what they are pushing in regard to political leadership is models like parliamentary models, the parliamentary system, the presidential system, the hybrid system. All of those are models, right? So why is it that when it comes to politics, we accept their models and their systems, but when it comes to governance or economic systems, we don't accept that they are models. We just want to be psychophants. We just want to sing some songs. Even when someone else is speaking something that is a fact, we want to bury our heads in the sand and believe that's how it is. Let me tell you, this country will only be saved if young people like Mong'are. I like what Muchendu said about the NSSF and NHIF. That is the biggest conmanship we have. There's no way Uhuru Kenyatta earns 2 million na anakata 1,700 like mtu analipwa 50,000. Hata kama anatumia insurance gani, hata kama ni ya Brookside. It doesn't matter. If all those, hiyo pesa yote kama ingekuwa inawekwa na hayana haja nayo, kuna watu wako na haja nayo. But because of this mindset, trickle down where the big boys will have all the money and they will decide who they will share with. Even there's something that he mentioned and said the trickle down is more of patronage, is more of monopoly, and it is where cartels are created. You cannot do trickle down without having those three factors. And that is where the corruption is bred. And that is where hapo ndio inazalia na inalea watoto hapo. And then we are being told it will work. Let me tell you, it's time that people decide to re-engineer or just disfigure their minds, work a default factory settings to 0, start thinking again. And people as young as Mong'are work with default, warudi 0, waanze upya ndio waanze kufikiria vizuri.
Asante sana Axel. Haya, kila mmoja tumeifunga. Haya, very quickly reactions, tufunge ni sign na tayari. Haya, taanza na wewe Nathaniel. Unaona mambo yanakuja kwako sana.
Kwanza Eric Meja ameweza kusema familia.
Kwa habari zinazovunjika pia, Mr. Ngugi, Bernard Ngugi has left Kenya Power CEO. He's been replaced by Rosemary Oduor.
That is the Kenya we want. You don't have to be appointed in Kenya because of where you come from.
Exactly. Eric Meja amesema anasikiza the tackle kama mimi tu. Napenda hizi tackle sana. Kwanza nikisikia Muchendu wako kwa tackle, huwa napenda kustamani sana nikuje nione hapa nimnyoroshe kidogo. So leo imekuwa mzuri. Aaron amesema tuvunje One Kenya Alliance tuondoe chama moja. I want to disagree. We don't need one single political party in this country. The fourth chapter of the Constitution guarantees, that is Article 58 on the political rights. Mkenya yoyote ako na uhuru wa kuunda chama and even participate in the activities of a political party. Kwa hivyo the idea of having one political party to advance the economic prosperity of this country, it is hogwash. Hiyo naye sikubaliana nayo kabisa. Tumeona mambo yamefanyika Jubilee. Mwaka wa 2016 kina Muchendu hapa walivunja vyama 13. That is September 2016. I remember very well. They collapsed 13 political parties to form one party called Jubilee Party. So hizi hiyo Jubilee Party yenye hata naibu wa rais alikuwa ndani hapo. It is the one now that is undermining Kenyans, and Muchendu is talking about that party. Yeye anaongea maneno yote yenye amesema concessions from France and all these. It is the Jubilee Party that collapsed and killed 13 political parties to form one party. So the idea of collapsing parties so that you can be able to advance a good Kenya, it is not true. That one I disagree. We can only have competition of parties and models, and that's why I'm agreeing with this competition, that we can discuss about models. Which party has the best model to deliver the aspirations of Kenyans?
Atuseme NASA ama tunasema sijui kumira. We're talking about issues.
We're talking about the fundamental issues, the bread and butter issues affecting the common person and everybody who lives in this country. So we are not going to fold ANC. ANC, we are going to build this party. In fact, we the people in the young people in ANC, we are telling Mheshimiwa Musalia Mudavadi that if you don't get a chance, if you don't fight out with others and make sure you're the president of this country in 2022, then your life, we have given you a notice. After 2022 tutaanza kujipanga, because we are building ANC as a party for the future. We are going to take, because we normally say the future is luminous, and luminous green is ANC, because our colors are luminous green. So in short, ANC is a party for posterity. Maxwell Sawe mwenye amezungumza tu saa hizi, and I want to agree with him that political parties are personality based. That is not a problem of ANC alone. ANC is basically trying to metamorphosize, to try and move away from its leader and become a party of ideas. And everybody knows this country that it is ANC that has been coming up with these many ideas, including the idea of Jubilee. It is Musalia Mudavadi who came up with Jubilee in 2012. I know he doesn't know, Muchendu doesn't know this. Jubilee in 2012, and he gave you a story. When URP and TNA and these two leaders came together to form the Jubilee coalition, they had signed a coalition agreement that was called Coalition for National Healing, Prosperity, Inclusivity, all those. It was a very long name of URP and TNA. But when there was need to continue the Vision 2030 of Mwai Kibaki, the leader said, then we might need Musalia Mudavadi to continue the Vision 2030. They approached him. In fact, Uhuru na Ruto walichukua gari wakatafuta Musalia Riverside, alikuwa nyumbani. Wakamwambia, wewe ndio tunaona unaweza endelesha hii azma ya Vision 2030. Tafadhali kuja tufanye kazi pamoja. When they involved Musalia Mudavadi, he told them that because this is a Jubilee year, it is a year of celebration, it's a year of Jubilee, let's name this coalition Jubilee. But baada ya Uhuru kusema madimoni, they ran away with the name that Musalia Mudavadi had suggested. That is the truth.
So Musalia ni mnoma sana kwa karanga hizi majina.
Is the originator and vision bearer of many ideas.
Including Jubilee.
In 2017, he came up with
na Jubilee.
No, we are not saying that. We are just saying he is a very creative person. Musalia ni Mudavadi, mtu anakaa chini na he doesn't do things without reflecting. Ni mtu anakaa chini na kufikiria maneno. In 2017 aliunda NASA. Na ile manifesto ya NASA ilikuwa inaitwa Road to Canaan manifesto. Ile manifesto yenye kila Mkenya alikuwa anakunywa maziwa na asali. Lakini watu wengine na ukora yao wakatoroka na hiyo manifesto. It is us who originated the ideas. Right now we are talking about One Kenya Alliance. Mkenya kwanza, uchumi bora, pesa mfukoni. All these ideas, they are coming from the ANC corner. So when Maxwell is saying that our politics is personality based, I want to a greater extent agree with him. But then again, tell him that this is a national problem. We need to perfect our democracy and move away from personalities, handouts, and move to ideas. That is how we can build this country. So I can assure him that in 2027 or 2032, Nathaniel Mong'are will be the party leader of ANC party.
Okay. Haya. Tukifunga.
Well, just to finish from where he has started, I, as a young person, I have chosen not to wait for those 20 whatever to be a leader in a party.
Umeanza?
Because I am not in the business of revamping and helping other people build a party and build a name for themselves. So Bitok, as a young person of this country, I have joined other young people, and we have registered a new party called Chama cha Kazi. The reason we have done so, Bitok, is we believe in the ability of young people. We believe in the capacity of young people to offer serious leadership to this country and revamp the journey of this country into prosperity. Okay. And therefore, I would want to tell my brother, as a young person, you need to move away from being sycophant of anyone. Because you hear him talk about Musalia Mudavadi, you would think that Musalia Mudavadi is an angel who has been dropped from heaven. You are not forgetting this is a guy whose name is adversely mentioned in some of the biggest scandals in this country, e.g. the Golden Bag scandal. He is the reason why IMF came back to this country and put this country. By the time Moi was leaving, we had an external debt of about, I think, 500 and something billion. And Mudavadi was his Minister for Finance. And in his tenure as the Minister for Finance, and subsequently, he was one-time Minister for Local Government. He became the Vice President at the tail end of President Moi's season. What was his achievement in all those years? Because he is not a new entry in politics. And therefore, as a young person, we have formed a party that, number one, addresses the issues of all Kenyans. It addresses the issues of inclusivity, that is including the young people in the leadership. We are not looking forward to become party leaders in the next 5-6 years. We are already party leaders in our own party that is advocating the leadership of young people.
You are a leader in the party, you're not the party leader.
Yes. I'm not the party leader, but the party leader is my age. At my age. So therefore, Chama cha Kazi seeks to actually address the need to include young people in leadership. Not because they are young, but because they have the capacity and the know-how to also run government. And therefore, we do not want a situation where young people will become second fiddle to anybody. We want a situation where young people are included on the table that is making decisions for this country. So therefore, if my brother here wants to become a party leader very young, I'm officially inviting him to Chama cha Kazi because he's a brilliant young man. He is a man with a lot of capacity. I believe he has all it takes to become the MP for North Mugirango. So therefore, I'm inviting him to Chama cha Kazi, where we are all equals. We do not have to sing the song of Musalia or the song of anybody, including as those who are supporting William Ruto Bitok. We are not supporting him as sycophants. We are supporting him as people who believe that our opportunity to serve as leaders is best placed within William Ruto. But even so, we will come, and I agree with him that the only way we will change this country is by political parties. And I do not advocate for the merger of political parties. In fact, it is the reason why the DP is where he is today. Because we merged a political party, and the people who took control of Jubilee Party alienated him. And therefore, as young people, we are coming up with a vehicle called Chama cha Kazi. Now, our slogan, ni kazi na pesa. That is our slogan. So therefore, I want to tell...
agreeing with us again. Pesa mfukoni.
Nimesema kazi na pesa, si pesa. Wanasema pesa mfukoni, lakini hawatuambii itatoka wapi tu. Sisi tunasema kazi kwanza, pesa baadaye. After umefanya kazi unapata pesa. So therefore, I want to agree that we cannot, and I will not even advise, as much as they are political nemesis, I will not advise anybody crashing a political, working and building a political party. Bitok is not a joke. It is not a joke. As young people, we have known it very rough. Bitok, you have to have at least 24 active branches all over the country. You have to have offices that you are supposed to have recess that extend beyond 3 and 4 months. You have to have at least over 1,000 members in those counties, and you have to do a lot.
There's a lot of work.
There's a lot of work to put up a party together, Bitok. We have done that at Chama cha Kazi, and complying as a party is not a joke.
All right.
So therefore, I do not wish that somebody has gone through that and then tomorrow you are told you crash your party so that you can join someone just for the sake of doing it. Let us. It is the reason why the Registrar of Political Party has the Political Party Act introduces a coalition government, so that you do not have to crash your party, but you can merge your goals if they realign and form a government. So therefore, let nobody tell you that the merging of parties will work better. In fact, merging of parties is what we call is going to kill democracy in this country.
Okay, we talk 1 minute.
Okay. Not 1 minute, 30 seconds.
30 seconds. I need to reply to Muchendu. When he says Musalia Mudavadi was involved in scandals, I know he wants to say golden bag. And it's for the record, I want to put it here. Kenyans, let them read page 292 of the report of the Commission of Inquiry into the golden bag. You know, Muchendu, he has been in this country for long. When the scandal of golden bag started with the Saitoti regime, at that time, Musalia Mudavadi was not a minister of finance. When he came in, it is Musalia Mudavadi who stopped the payments, further payments to the Golden Bag International Limited, the export compensation scheme. And this is a report it's a Commission of Inquiry report known as the Golden Bag Inquiry by the retired Justice Bosire. Page 292 says, and they give credit, the report, it gives credit to Musalia Mudavadi for having stopped the further payments to Golden Bag. In fact, the report says it is the chairman of Parliamentary Accounts Committee that time, the late Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, who said publicly before parliamentary committee that people were being jealous and envious of the business acumen of Kamlesh Patni. It is the Raila's father who said those things in public, that people are just being envious of Kamlesh Patni. And it is Musalia Mudavadi who, when he appeared before the committee, he said he can't make a single payment again to the fictitious export compensation scheme. So this is a public inquiry. He can read page 292. I know he doesn't have the time to read long reports, but for this one, he should read page 292 of the Commission of Inquiry report into the Golden Bag scandal. And when he says it is Musalia who brought IMF in Kenya, I want to agree. It is Musalia Mudavadi who went to the Bretton Woods institution to bring IMF to Kenya. And why did Musalia bring IMF to Kenya in 1993? Because our traditional lenders and partners like IMF and World Bank had moved away from this country because of corruption. When Musalia Mudavadi made a visit to IMF in London, the deputy director of IMF, aliwafokea sana, akamwambia, I cannot deal. That time Musalia was a new minister. I cannot continue dealing with a country that is looting from their own people. Musalia Mudavadi, as a new minister and a very young man at the age of 33, was confused on what to tell the deputy director of IMF. The story is told later on. I will not want to tell it now. Yes. Musalia Mudavadi's personal demeanor made the Bretton Woods institution, the World Bank and IMF, to accept to come back and have a development program with Kenya. What is now famous known as the SAPs, the Structural Adjustment Programs. The Structural Adjustment Programs made sure that there were radical reforms in the financial sector. One of them was that the government reduced its appetite of borrowing from the internal market. That means banks did not have somebody to lend to. They started repackaging their products, including giving cheaper loans for business. Also, the Bretton Woods institution reduced their appetite, and there was a radical surgery. In fact, the first casualty was the Central Bank of Kenya, and then he introduced the KRA Act. That time, KRA was an income tax department known as VAT in Treasury. He introduced the Kenya Revenue Authority Act to make KRA autonomous. So he should give credit. Wanasema mgala muue na haki yake umpe. So kwa hivyo he should give Musalia Mudavadi due. The moment Musalia Mudavadi left on the 31st July 1997, when he left his job as a Minister of Finance, the Bretton Woods institution also went back immediately the same day. So he should give credit where it's due.
Haya, Penny amesema credit Penny airtime. Ama ni credit ni gani? You would have a credit. Anyway, guys, it's been a pleasure having you.
Like a small god. You think that?
No, but he also is the same way he's advocating for William Ruto's ideas. It is not wrong because Musalia Mudavadi is a presidential candidate.
Okay.
I must explain, as the spokesperson of the party, I must explain the ideologies that we stand for and him as a presidential candidate. And I think that's why you invited me here in my capacity as the spokesperson of the party.
Yes. Tafadhali chunga time next time. Ama nitaambia Musalia you never keep time when you're going to sleep.
Pole sana, nimetoa apologies.
Chunga sana.
Nimetoa apologies sana.
Unajua Mudavadi ndio rafiki yangu.
Tell son of a mommy he doesn't keep time.
Sasa Diana sema your spokesperson is always sleeping. So next time let's thank you gentlemen for coming in. It has been an amazing discourse and you will have this conversation again as we move forward. The most interesting things. Finally,
allow me today.
I've allowed you.
Yes. Today, I want to have a place to go home. I want to appreciate my wife Naomi for always preparing me very early to come to the show. It is not normal. It is not. It is not expected that she has to do it, but somehow she makes sure that I get out of the house in time and come to be talk.
In fact, so, I conjoin myself in that appreciation.
Yes, I want to appreciate Naomi Nje, my wife, Mama Vanessa, for always making sure I am looking sharp at Bitok. And without her, probably I will always come here disorganized as most men would. So today I want to appreciate. I also want to appreciate some people who follow this show in Kiambu and they don't talk much. Wanaitangwa kwa jina ya utani tunawaita vidungi. The likes of Waiganjo, the likes of Jimmy Gekwa, the likes of Braki, Emma Breast, and every other member of my party, Chama Chakazi. And I tell them, keep looped here. This is where you get a very balanced debate. This is where opportunities are accorded to every person from every political divide. We come and we converse here so that when you make decisions that are sound.
Okay. We appreciate for pass our regards and we support family values.
Thank you.
I appreciate bwana mama bwana anakubali kuacha cuddling asubuhi. Anakubali kuacha Muchendu. Last minute.
She's the only woman who prepares me. When you call me on an emergency.
Haya, asante sana mama. Anaitwa mama nani?
Mama Vanessa.
Mama Vanessa. Thank you so much. Thank you muno radhimo. Barikiwe zaidi. Siku njema hata leo umemvalisha suti. Asante zaidi. Haya, this has been the Tackle Siasa Wednesday and it ends now. Bye bye. We love you.